Hey guys, welcome to the educational video for how to open wine. I'm just going to show you the basic steps essentially of how to do it with red and sparkling as well. Okay, so you want to start by presenting the wine at the table. This is a really important process because it establishes essentially what the winemaker is, the vintage, etc. So you establish what they ordered and then you can continue to open the bottle. Here at the Citizen, we have taller tables, so you always want to essentially approach the guest, have the wine down on the table like that, label facing them, and then essentially you will cut the cap of the bottle off. Once you do that, you can put the film in your pocket. Then you want to essentially open it with the corkscrew or wine key as it's called. You want a two-step wine key. It's important, it gives you a bit more leverage to open the bottle so the cork doesn't break if it's dry. You want to essentially open the wine slowly. You want to make sure it's a clean cut on the label. After you will present the cork to the table, face up like that. Some people smell it. It's not really a big deal. To be honest, you're just looking to see if the aging on the cork is all right, if it's dry, if it's really dark, or maybe if there's been some leakage. But other than that, the cork's not a big deal. You do want to take it off the table, as in Ontario it's illegal to leave it on the table, as that table could possibly take the wine home for themselves if they want, and we don't want that. Here for sparkling wine, essentially you want to have nice and chilled, make sure it's really cold, bottle in the ice. You can put some salt on that if you want to make it a bit colder. When you present the sparkling or champagne, you want to make sure as well as the red wine that the label is out. This one's a bit different as it's under pressure, so you want to make sure that you're not popping it like in the rap videos. Just kind of take the foil off. Don't worry if it takes a second or is a bit awkward. At this point, you can maybe try to have some conversation with the table, explain anything you have about, any knowledge you have about the wine, or maybe you have a story, or maybe it's just your favorite. You want to take it, you want to twist 5.5 times. Make sure your thumb is on the top just so the cork doesn't go crazy and explode. And then slowly just twist it. Okay, and you're putting pressure on the top just a bit as you're twisting. And like that. You don't want a lot of sound. You don't want it flying everywhere. Take this, take it away from the table. You want to make sure you pour the wine. You don't have to give a taste in terms of sparkling wine. It's very rare that it's corked or there's any problem with it, so you just go ahead and pour from the guest who ordered it around. After that, make sure it's chilled. Place the lid back on the bottle, and you should be good to go. All right, now that the wine is open, it's time to drink. Essentially, depending on how many guests you have, you want to make sure you're pouring the appropriate amount so you don't finish the bottle too early. You want to always have it firmly in your hand, label facing out. This is essentially to ensure that when you're facing a guest, if the guest is here, and they don't know what the wine is, they can see the label and read it, and they don't have to ask you that question. When you're pouring, essentially you want to put your finger in the bottom, which is called the punt, and it's pretty easy. It's nice and smooth. To ensure that you don't have any drippage, just quickly up, you're good to go. In terms of sparkling, some people are a little intimidated by this. Not a big deal. Obviously, it's under pressure and it's carbonated. So what's going to happen when you pour it, just like any, Coca-Cola that you pour, is you're going to get bubbles. Okay, and bubbles are great, but also sometimes it can be a time-consuming process. So same thing when you're pouring. If you're comfortable pouring just like this from the table, excellent. If you're not a big deal if you just pick the glass up and pour it into there on an angle. If you use the angle, essentially what will happen is there will be less bubbles. But you want to essentially pour about a half glass each. If they're getting it by the glass, obviously we're going to fill it up, but generally you don't pour a full glass of sparkling wine or champagne.